Hello, it's Robert Shortman, Doomweaver2007, just carrying on for Globebusters. And what we're going to do is we'll be discussing maps, models, and ideas, and hypotheses and ideas of what we think the model could be. So we've got Martin Leakey and Nathan Oakley here
Yay.
tonight,
Hi guys.
and we've got one viewer already, so it's starting to fill up.
Happy days.
Alison's there.
Yeah, they're coming in now.
They'll all run over now. There'll be 720 and you know from Globebusters.
Yeah, they've been waiting.
So what do you know, Robert? What is it?
What do I know? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I've kind of,
Read it up how you started with your findings, Rob, because that was quite interesting.
Okay.
How you stumped,
Yeah, I just was looking through the flat Earth maps and the geomagnetic maps on Google Images, and from that, just going to the websites that relating to the links. And what I did was started to kind of stumble across more interesting things than I thought. So what it was these magnetic declination maps from the National Ocean and Aerospace something. So it's NOAA, and it was looking at their points to maps for anomalies and that type of thing. So then I kind of stumbled upon a azimuthal map, and this projection map was the standard one which we were using. And what it was just in relation to these points like the Bermuda Triangle, the Devil's Triangle. There's many of these locations, and someone's mapped them out already and got the locations there, 10 of them altogether. So as you see on there, they all kind of link up. And what it was, it's modeled on a sphere globe model, not on a flat Earth model. So basically, I used those dimensions and started to work it out to see if it could be done. So the first thing I did was just to draw 10 locations onto a circle with that, and that panned out to be the locations that were similar and the same symmetry as if you made it straight completely. So from that, then I placed those locations and marked them on this map here to give a dimension and see what it is, and basically it formed one of the plutonic solids, which was, it's an actual shape design that's sacred geometry. So just by having that, I thought that was quite interesting, because no one's actually worked out that it formed that type of shape just from these anomalies. So these are anomaly points, but I'm sure you could overlay that with possibly other actual non-anomalies but magnetic points in
And that's
relation
all on the
to
26th. Then each one of the ends of the star are all on the 26th. Yeah.
So where they locate onto this, you've got the equator, and then you've got the what is it? It's the
Cancer, Capricorn.
Cancer and Capricorn. And
Can you hold it just a little bit further back from the camera? It's just not quite in focus.
there we go. So those are the positions on there, and those are where the supposed anomalies happening with Bermuda Triangle and other strange locations like that. And this chap modelled them on the globe model with like the work. He called it a planetary grid system, which that's what he called it. I'm going to put all the links into the description when it finishes, so everyone can look at what I've looked at and then just use them details. But yeah, I just thought it was quite interesting that it did form that shape. It still needs some adjustment. As you can see, the X's are where it actually marks it on there, but it doesn't match up to where the positions of the islands are. So some of it makes clear positions, and then you've got points where it doesn't actually match up correctly.
It's a pentagram, basically, is it not?
Pentagram, yes, it is. Yeah.
Basically.
So I mean, it's one of these. With sacred geometry, there's all plutonic solids are made up from 9 triangles, 9 squares, and 9 pentagrams. So when you get the flower of life and that interlinks, from that you can make everything shape-wise. So I just thought it was interesting that one of those shapes appeared on this map in relation to those anomalies or vortexes. Yeah, I mean it's different. I don't think anybody else has actually.
Just nobody has. Well, he done it on a
Seen
planetary. He didn't think of doing it on an azimuthal, and that cannot be an accident. How could that show up?
No, so what he did was put it onto a kind of grid system, and then tried to model it around a planet system like that. So that's what he did. He kind of built up a cube, which is, you know, it's a really poor shape of the Earth, isn't it?
I've got you know, I could have screen shared the actual paper. Yeah, right. Done it.
Are you going to screen share it, Martin?
Yeah, it's on,
right.
on everybody now anyway.
Oh, right, he's got it up anyway, mate. Have a look.
What is it precisely that you're sharing?
I'm not.
Oh, you're not? Oh,
I thought you was starting it up, sorry.
We were in expectation.
To be honest, no, it won't come through on this because they're on a Google on Windows 10. I'm afraid I don't think it'll come through on this. Try.
Oh, okay. Well, do you want to tell us what it was?
Yeah.
What was it you were
the planetary grid? Cheldress's planetary grid. I've seen this before. Not the exact same, and he's just obviously on a globe. But if you stretch it up to an azimuthal and it's come into this shape, it cannot be an accident. Now, is it them encoding? I don't know. But it's not. It's a planetonic solid and everything's secret geometry. So what can that lead us to think, guys? That you're onto something. What about the other mystical and sacred sites? You know, the inner ones. There are many, many more as well, aren't there? They're just on the 26. I wonder what they'll show.
Yeah,
very intriguing.
Again, you could map that out on a similar type of system. So what you would do would be to map something out like that. You just bend that round the azimuthal map and then project that on there. That would probably. I don't know. Again, it's not been done.
I'm going to try it. I'm going to try a load.
Hey, Antonio.
I was going to say, Antonio's just joined us.
Hiya, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Am I getting feedback?
You said earlier, Antonio, that when you looked at this pentagram layout, that it would line up better if you moved to Australia. Can you just explain what you meant?
Yes. Am I causing any feedback?
No.
No, that's okay.
Yeah. Can you show the drawing, Robert? Yeah. Okay. Can you turn it round a little bit very slowly? So rotate it. Keep rotating. Keep rotating. Stop. Can everybody see how the left point, the right point, but the point between the two, the top point, can you see how that point is not symmetrical? It's out of line?
Yes, you've got that point there, you mean, and then that
yes.
point lost there because...
That point, so the point as we're seeing it now should be a little bit more to the left.
Sorry to interrupt. Is the camera actually fixed on Robert while we're doing this? Because I think it might.
Oh shit!
Yes, it is. Yep.
Okay.
So as I'm looking at it, okay, if we suppose that the star has any kind of sense to it, so it would have symmetry. If it has symmetry, the point of Africa would be slightly. Well, Africa is too wide in this map anyway. Sorry, South America is too wide in this map. So that the point where near Brazil would be a bit further to the right, up and to the right slightly, and the top point, the point that points furthest up, would be over to the left. Now, if these points are based on latitudinal points, so that's where New Zealand is, we're moving New Zealand and Australia across.
The Kawashi map's got Australia.
I just thought it was interesting how you got so many that did actually line up with what they put on it, and then as soon as I actually started drawing it round there, then those are the ones that lined up, and then the other ones I was like, well, why can't I draw it completely as it should be?
It's because the land masses are off.
Yeah.
So if you draw the actual star and then look at what land masses are on those points, you can plot those land masses.
if you could draw the star, seeing it as it what it should be, which I can't do, but that's somebody can do that.
I can do that.
Exactly.
Have a go.
So we'll be doing.
That'd be interesting to see, and then you can use that as an overlay, or even cut a shape out that size thing, and then
Yeah. In
point
fact,
Do overlay. I'll do
you-
overlays.
just one second, Martin. Sorry, mate. Listen, if you get take the one that's top left, okay, the point of the star that's top left.
Okay.
If we were to draw that line completely across, okay, can you see how much further down the point that's going towards the edge of Australia is?
yes,
That's because the Eurasia is too small here. If we
Right.
make Eurasia bigger, that point will be level with the point over on the left.
got
Do you
ya.
see what I mean?
Yes. to
So if
balance it
that
out.
point was level, then Eurasia has gone bigger, and the Gobi Desert is in the Tropic of Cancer.
Oh, right, I see.
Do you
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah, because it's not apparent. It's only apparent when you look at this actual map, and you can actually see the Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, and the equator in between the middle of these 2 points all the way around. So when you look at that, it's not just drawn on randomly. It's actually marked on these locations. So that's what's giving it the shape. Not that I've just plotted it randomly.
That's it. Have you, in fact, Robert, have you shown the image? I've
What
got it here. Do you want me
Okay.
to link it?
Yeah.
What's going on with screen sharing? Why are we all failing miserably to share?
Yeah. Why? It's not my show. It's up on Robert. So
No,
I
not moaning at
should
you,
be
Martin. I'm just
screen
wondering
share.
why it's not possible.
Right,
Should
I don't
be.
know.
It should be, yeah.
Done
I see
anything.
if I can bring up vortices.
Yeah, you try it.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, there you go, Martin. You're displaying
There you are.
screen right now.
I'll fix it on you now, Martin.
Okay.
It's gone black.
We've got a black screen now.
Oh bugger. Did it come up then though?
It did.
For a second. There you go.
There you are. Okay, so Robert, I'm going to put it in the chat, okay?
Oh wait, there might.
No, it keeps going off. It must be a
Okay.
plug-in or something. Yeah, try that then.
Yeah, thanks.
I put it in the chat, guys, whoever can display. And this is the link that you passed me, Robert, with the things displayed on the standard atlas spread of the
Yeah.
Earth.
I'll bring that up now and just do a screen. Full
And you can see how all of them are on the tropics.
start screen share. Right. This present everyone. Right. There we go.
Yep.
Okay.
Skate.
So this is the.
Is that going out now? Can the people see what we
Yeah.
can see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Try and get it on
It's on.
this. So that was where I originally got the map from, and that was on Google search. So it just kind of went from there, and then it linked me into the place where the chap was doing at his website. And I'm just going to bring the other one up now.
David Childress of Ancient Aliens, is it? The guy with who done the Karnak Stones. Do you ever watch that series?
So,
No.
so this
What that map, if I can just ask, Robert, that map that's displayed with the tropics,
Yeah.
what the hell are all those huge landmasses to the north?
Mercator.
Yeah, but they are so completely exaggerated.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and then you've got the size of New Zealand and Australia that's been shrunk. Again, I think when you do project the locations onto, you know, a different type of map, because that's more of a square type of map, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the
Worst
stand.
mercator ever.
It's dreadful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
But you can see, even on this map, you can see that the Tropic of Cancer goes through the Gobi Desert over to the left,
Mhm.
just above Australia, to the left further there.
Yeah.
So this area actually should be lower. The Gobi Desert is higher up
Yeah.
on the Earth.
So yeah, I just looked at that and then laid it onto the Gleason type of map, which again I've got that as well. So these are some of the magnetic anomaly pictures that I was looking at as well.
Nice.
And therefore,
there's a huge disturbance off the coast of Antarctica there, isn't it?
it's that point there. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
get back to it. I know where to look. There we go. So that's the main set of maps from the National So it's National Ocean and Atmospheric Administration. So this is the big anomaly. It's a magnetic declination.
God.
And that's near the ice ring on the edge. So that's another interesting thing. So that's where they get a mass amount of disturbance. And when I was looking at all the maps, some of the points were linking up to the points that they were putting on as these disturbance points anyway. So it was just interesting to see some of that matching up.
Very.
But again, they're the same type of square map that you see. It's not the.
Yeah, it's a lot better. That's good.
So that was the map I based it on.
Not
And
bad.
again, you can adjust the equator and just those points of reference in and out.
Robert, what would happen if you did this on the Kobayashi?
That's what I said, yeah.
Wow, I don't know.
Honestly, Asia's like not the size of Africa. Asia was right. Pull the Australia round. The Kabawashi would fit much better. I suggested
I'm
this
sure
earlier.
once you look at the locations and then overlay it from them points that they're giving us, the longitude, latitude, grid references, and then the kind of position in between those zones. That's how you kind of mark X marks the spot rather than it just being, So if you get a triangle there, or as an example, Bermuda Triangle's in between that point, isn't it? So that's one of the zones, and that's why it was on that parallel going around. And then the other
26.
ones were on that as well, weren't they, all the way around? We noticed, and then again that can move in and out to increase the size of the land mass or do it accordingly. But just from that shape and it forming that shape, I just thought it was quite unique to position those anomalies, because then that could mean that there's other non-magnetic anomalies like Bob's and Cammy's Jonism's map.
Thermal anomalies.
The thermal anomalies. Martin has got.
I found thermal anomalies today. Funnily enough, Anne, you might be interested in this. 1972, the Nimbus satellite. Okay. Now, Laurie stated last night on her show that they've never taken images of the North or South Pole with a satellite. So I went digging. Now, this magazine collection is called The Joy of Knowledge from the 1980s, but these photographs are from 72. They show thermometry data, so they're images, obviously not photographs, taken from higher, so you could believe these, okay? They're not satellites, they're balloons or whatever, but it's an Arctic North Pole projection. But it gives it in temperatures. The top one is January, okay? And the bottom is July. Now, what you find
Martin, can you hold it and keep it there while you talk, but keep it steady? Because we're only getting a flat. You're twisting it and turning it, just keep it in one place.
To point it out. Right, now, where you see this, right, now this is the January, right, so this is midwinter. Now these red spots you'll see in the centre of the Arctic Ocean where, where there might be land, they're heat spots. Whatever is causing these heat anomalies in the centre of the Arctic Ocean where there is a frozen sea. I don't know, underground volcanoes, I don't know. But they give you the heat variations. These anomalies, by the way, intensify in the summer months in a frozen ocean. Now, bad projection, and it's based on an azimuthal as well, I found. Here's Britain here, if you want to give you some idea. I'll just point it out for you, and then you'll be able to see where we are. And then it's a bit of a magic eye picture, but once you see, you'll see, okay?
Can you give us a good few seconds holding it nice and steady when you find it?
Right, okay. Now, this is Siberia here, guys. And this is the British Isles. So where Iceland is in Greenland, but there's a bit of a problem with Iceland and Greenland. Greenland isn't as close to Ireland as that. The coast of the coast of Europe, I followed that as far as Germany. It's completely wrong too. So the image data is not coming precise for the map, but the heat data, what it's based on, is not bad, I believe. So this is what it's showing, guys. It's showing heat anomalies, apparently from a satellite 1972, but it's imagery, so it could be a balloon, I'm saying.
Can you just hold your finger away from it and just hold it steady for just a couple of seconds, just so the image at some point, at least once, quite clear. There we go. Just hold it there for a second. Beautiful. Thank you, Martin.
That's in January 1972, and this is in July 1972.
Hold it. Beautiful. Thank you.
And these modern art paintings will be available in the Tate Modern.
They do look like modern art, don't they? Very colourful.
Robert, I put the Kobayashi in the link here in the chat. If you want to pull it up, and then we can compare.
Yeah, just gonna look now. That's the same link. Is that?
So while Robert's doing that, can one of you dumb down what we've just talked through and what you've actually shown?
Yeah.
Maybe not Robert, because he's doing something.
Yeah, okay. So basically, Robert's had a dig, and he's found a site, right, where Robert Childress, who's really, really well qualified, I think he's a professor actually what he is, but he's a paleontologist by trade, all right? Now, he's wrote about 100 novels, 100 books on this sort of stuff. He's the guy who specialised Karnak stone, so this guy really knows his stuff, but he's a globe believer. So he's based his projection, and what he's done is he's looked at all the anomalies on the face of Earth. Okay, so you've got the Bermuda Triangle, you've got Mohenjo-Daro, you've got Giza, you've got all different anomalies all around the plane. So basically, he's put it on a planetary projection, which is basically a Mercator, which Robert brought up earlier. It's a bit back, but it still gives you a geometric grid system. Fine. Works, gives people, wow, that's really something. But what Robert's done is he's found an azimuthal equidistant projection, not too bad, and he's just roughly aligned it round on the 26th latitude line, okay, just on the outside. And what he's done is he's mapped out all of the 10 vortices points this gentleman has put forward, which exist, by the way. I've got countless books. I'll bring them up and show you the evidence myself. There is so much documented evidence in Devil's Triangle, any number of these places over the years. You go into the Saragossa Sea,
sure, you're losing the conclusion though, Martin. Conclusion being he's plotted these 10 points out.
Yeah, and basically what he's inverted it into an azimuthal, and it's brought up perfect, or almost perfect shape of a pentagram or pentagon, which is obviously a part of a Platonic solid system, a sacred geometry, basically a fundamental building block of reality. Is this a case that this is showing us this is what's going on? But this is what Robert's showing you now. This projection, or this way of projecting, could be put over other azimuthals, and we could actually find out by doing this using other sacred sites what we're actually living on. I believe there's so many. There's a list basically here of mystical and sacred sites. Many of ones in Scotland, in America, plenty of places that we can actually project something else. This is just one day where Robert has discovered this, guys, and it is something, I believe.
And yes, absolutely, it's something, Martin. And further to that, things are happening immediately. So on the show, we've got Antonio Subarats, who has immediately taken this data and extrapolated it out in terms of moving continents around. And this is happening live now. This is amazing.
I know.
I love these
Real
shows.
Time. It's not sitting on your ass doing fuck all, mind, is it, Nathan?
No.
It's pushing the boundaries, man.
We're all like thinking of what
he contacted me earlier. I was thinking on exactly the same stuff. He literally talks to me earlier about what he's looking at. I'm looking into exactly the same sort of thing at the same time. And then he mentions to me, just out of interest, guys, this is phenomenal, this was, I thought. I was doing alternative research. Robert brought up the shape, okay? And basically, I found just a round table, what they believe is Arthur's round table, 1,000-year-old, and in the centre, Bob's your uncle. They can't resist it. It's right in the centre, and another one outlaying. So could this table be representative? And there is exactly that same shape in the middle. It could be encoded, a 1,000-year-old table in which I thought that was really. He's telling me about it. I looked on it, I thought, Oh Jesus, there's one there on the Winchester table. Synchronicities, guys, or messages from God?
They
You make
always,
your mind up.
they always tried to hide sacred geometry from all.
They do.
For over thousands of years, anybody who caught with anything sacred geometry, if they had a picture of that or anything, they'd have just been strung up or hidden quite quickly. They'd have got rid of the data and just got rid of it. So
but the way they hide it is even more clever, because when they do encode this stuff, and we all see it in movies, it's demonized. It's leading you to the belief of Satan and evil powers and blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's not. It's just one of these platonic solids, and it's one of the shapes that forms everything else. So that's just one part of that. And if you didn't have that shape, you wouldn't be able to form the other shape. So yeah, no. It's fairly important.
Fundamental building block of reality. There's no doubt about it.
It's like an alphabet, or that. It's reasonably important when you have to have that as a base to do most things. So the basis of these solid shapes aren't imaginary or just made up.
No.
And when you've got the locations, and then you start to project it on the maps that we have, I'm not saying they're the correct ones. I'm not saying I'm 100% with it. I'm just saying it's an idea which no one's actually thought about to do with the locations that we do know have caused problems with ships. I mean, Martin, you know, there's not many shipping lanes that go through these places.
They don't go very fast, obviously, because there's zero winds, and it's just they just don't do it because they got a thing called kelp belts. So it's just kelp. So you can't go through. You'll chop it up on your blades. You'll be finished. So you can't go through the Bermuda Triangle. These anomalies are known. They're marked out on literally sea charts as basically no-go areas. There's places on the land as well like this. You're aware of that. There's places on California and in the Gobi Desert. Funny you should mention that, where there's these same anomalies happening. It's not just on the seas.
So what do you mean, Martin? When you say this in the Gobi Desert, it's a no-go area, what do you mean?
Right. What it states on the maps, on the old maps, some of the Victorian ones I got, is basically anomalous zone, not unexplored, an androgynous zone, anomalous zone, which means it's anomalous. There's anomalies there.
Can I just jump in? Sorry.
I don't know what it means.
We have Gem Panda, okay, who's saying, we know where New Zealand is. People navigate there. I've just asked him where the Gobi Desert is. He says China, Mongolia, somewhere around there. Dude, if you think you can be so precise about an island the size of New Zealand, but you don't know where the fucking Gobi Desert is, maybe you want to start looking at maps and looking at recent and looking at things.
Russia, China, it's absolutely huge.
Yes, it's a lot bigger than New Zealand. Mate, Gem Panda is much, much bigger than New Zealand. Do you understand?
And it covers a couple of time zones, and in the north it's Arctic, and in the south it's tropical. You've got the two sort of weathers in the Gobi as well, so that's incredible. The two weather shifts.
Yeah, so Gem Panda doesn't understand what a desert is, where they might be on the Earth. Just generally kind of around kind of Eurasia somewhere. What a freaking ass. Sorry guys, I'm a bit annoyed with two people on Globebusters.
We're loving trolls tonight, we are. We're loving trolls.
Yeah.
Come by our wins, brother. I was going to get you a picture of platonic solids, but there's basically everything as you can see. This is the harmonics given off by crystals. Now, as you know, each crystal will give off a harmonic, and it's based on, that one's on a dodecahedron, but they give off an harmonic at 7 hertz, some crystals. Do you realise that? So each crystal has its own harmonic.
Frequency, don't it, as well? So the Earth is its own frequency itself.
Right, someone's I'm going to have to jump in here. We've gone from one thing to something quite on another scale with no link between. So somebody's got to fill the B and C of this. You know, we can't just go from A to D like that, I'm afraid, Martin. That was pretty out there. So, yeah, okay, so you've got crystals that have got these patterns that they produce. How does this link back into the magnetic structure that you've discovered in terms of the layout? If maybe Robert can field that one.
Well, I can see how it could interfere the patterns on Earth with magnetism and electromagnetism and compass readings, because if you got belts of coal, and I think it's safe to assume that you've got belts of crystalline structure. Now they know there is anyway. You know, silicone stands in Silicon Valley, where computers are made out of their crystal. The crystal, that's all they are, to hold that information. So these ribbons and bands of crystalline structure, the mountain ranges could even be strict crystalline by structure. Well, they are, a lot of them. So these are making differences, I believe, on the electromagnetics that are not accounted for in modern day science, I reckon. They don't account for all of this, you know, Nathan.
No,
Does that
they
make any
never,
sense to anyone?
Yeah, they don't mention it. They never mention
No,
those
they don't.
anomalies. It's quite convenient that they choose to not map them out, not measure them out, and not really say much about them. Because I'm sure if someone did, then it might form more of a shape than they're expecting, or it certainly gives an idea of what, if you link these points up on a different projection of maps, you get different ideas and different locations of where these things objects could be, because that shape in itself is it's a true shape, and if it's anything like a frequency, if you vibrate a frequency of sand and molecules, then that forms a particular shape. The shape is symmetric. It doesn't it's not lopsided and not kind of distorted. It's very kind of a pure shape. So if that's a similar type of thing, because these are anomalies through a field that we're not aware of, and it's forming that type of shape, then the shape will be symmetry, so it will form a pattern, even though it's not forming a pattern because they've told us where the islands are.
Well, geologists must be aware of it, because I've actually seen a geologist tap a stone with a tuning fork and listen to what key the stone was in.
I mean, something we also brushed over a little bit quickly, sorry to sort of drag you guys and slow you guys down, but was the shipping lanes, because I know there's going to be people watching that just have this assumption.
I'll show you a map of some. I got a sea chart.
Well, this is it. I just wanted to sort of make it clear before you do that, there are some very set paths in terms of where you can and can't go. They're like motorways in terms of their paths, and you must stick to these things. It's not like you can just go wandering off anywhere you like.
No, that's right. There are lanes, shipping lanes, the same as there are aeroplane, airliners that have the same type of corridors that they have to follow. They can't just fly anything. So the shipping do the same thing. And whether that's on purpose or not, that would be another question. But just having those lanes means that you're restricted into those lanes. You wouldn't want to deviate from that to get other maritime areas that would come in and say, look, you're out of your zone. What are you doing? Because I'm sure they would, wouldn't they, Martin? They're not just going to have ships come in and.
No, you've got to be escorted. If you go out of the buoys, I suppose in this day and age, I suspect they got some sort of thing to alert coastal places.
Yeah,
in the old day, you got the red buoys that take you out. If you go beyond the red buoy, then that's outside of coastal areas. 3 miles out, then you're into the international shipping waters. Then marine law comes in. So basically, if you murder or do something wrong in that country, once you pass that red buoy, you're safe. You're in the time, so you can just move on. So they are in shipping.
Sorry, that's a bit ominous. The first crime
it is a bit ominous, but all you know is when you
murder.
get to that red, you're safe.
Yeah, but the crime you picked as an example, you could have said if you'd robbed a bank, but you went straight to killing someone.
I'll tell you why, because I'll tell you exactly why, Nathan. There's a very famous film called Tiger Bay, okay? Made in the city that I'm born, right? And it stars Hayley Mills, and it was in 1962 with John Mills. And the film is basically a Polish merchant seaman murders a lady in Cardiff Bay, and then he gets on a ship, and then he's escaping, and they got to meet him before he goes past the 3 Mile Buoy, basically. And that's in the film. So that's why I use that as an analogy in my mind. Anyway, not for myself.
Good reference, then. I take it all back, Martin. Good reference.
I had to run through it, psychology, because I know how clever you are. Anyway, so basically, if you get off, right, you've got to ring the nearest land port. So if you're in, say, the Bay of Biscay, you'd have to ring Finisterre, so Finisterre Point, and they would have to send a tug-out or a vessel to the shipping lanes if you're in trouble. Some places they will basically they'll send the Air Force in to buzz you back to your shipping lane. You cannot waltz off where you want. You've got to think. You've got pirate areas. So you go off the coast of Somalia. Anywhere in the eastern Indian Ocean is a danger zone, so you've got to watch them, okay? So you've got to be strict in the inlet. You also, that's your own trouble. So they don't. And sailors will adhere to these. I'm telling you, there's too many heavy fines and, you know, put on people.
So if we
I'll
link,
give an
if we link
example.
this, sorry Martin, to interrupt you. If we link this all back then to what Robert's discovered and obviously the meaning further to this, in other words, we've discussed now, at the beginning of the show, we've got all the details and what it is, then we've got brought it back to the simplistic nature of what we've discovered and what it actually is. Now we've explained about how we can't go anywhere we like and just discover stuff. So if we can tie it all together, maybe then Antonio can come in and say what the future will bring as a result of what both Andy and Robert have discovered.
I would like the grid system to all fit together and work out exactly what the map is and find that all of the ancients knew exactly what they were doing, and they put all these sacred and mystical sites on these vortices points because they knew of something happening in basically maybe in the earth, the crystalline structure of these areas, the harmonic resonance of these areas maybe. So I'm thinking that the ancients might have been onto something with, if it's true, Giza and everything else, if it's true. And could it be harnessed for an Asian power grid, free energy grid on a flat plane? The Asians may have knew. I tell you why, because one of the sites that we've seen was Mohenjo-Daro, and there's one of the anomalies that always sticks in my mind there is this giant obelisk. It's one of the greatest obelisks outside of the place in Lebanon that you will see is something like a couple of 1,000 ton of pure stone, and it's half out of the ground, like where it's haven't been finished. So I'm thinking, why are they now? You can obviously say with obelisks this phallic symbology. It could be that, right? But I think these obelisks were used with pyramids on the top for some sort to work with the pyramids. Okay, pyramids, they've taken the stone, they've examined it, and it's got its own specific crystalline structure. It's harmonic. Pyramid, and not the same as the other stones in the area either. So they've gone further afield just to get this particular harmonic resonance for Giza. So there's something going on there because of the resonance in the crystalline stone, I believe. That's personal.
Sure. I mean, we can speculate about free energy, but Cami Nodal pointed this out when she was talking about how maps generally work. You know, well, do work. You're following magnetic lines, therefore, further to tying down where these actual fields are means we can actually more accurately plot where the land masses are, which is where I'm hoping Antonio will pick up and start to explain some of the stuff that you're now doing. Can you hear us, Antonio?
Yeah, sorry, I was a bit distracted with the chat. Say again, guys.
Well,
sorry,
I was saying...
just so you know, I'm a little bit distracted because apart from having 3 cats, which are lovely, by the way, really easy to look after, I have a certain someone coming in 9 hours, well, 8 hours.
Oh, yeah.
So my mind's a little bit distracted. I'll focus. I was getting sidetracked by talking to stupid people who think that they can determine exactly where New Zealand is, but the Gobi Desert, it's somewhere in Asia.
Okay, so if I bring you right back on track then, the trolls are achieving their ends.
yes, so I blocked them. So
good for you. Yeah. But yeah, what basically I'm trying to get to the point now is we've got what Robert has discussed. We haven't really touched on how it ties in with what Cami Nodal has discovered, but I wanted you to sort of say what you're using this information for. In other words, it's all well and good talking about P states and N states, and it's only when you talk about TV that you can actually make someone realise what that information is useful for. So in the same respect, I'm hoping that you'll say, well, we've gone through what has been discovered, but how is that useful?
Okay, well, if people look into the golden mean or the golden rule, you'll find that nature uses this. Some people refer to it as a Fibonacci sequence. It's not quite. It's a more relaxed thing than the Fibonacci sequence, which, when we look at the Fibonacci sequence, we see that it itself doesn't actually follow a specific, mathematically it does, but in nature it doesn't quite, okay? And the same with the golden mean or the golden rule, which is 1 to 1.528. So it's a ratio, okay, that nature follows. So nature follows this ratio for growing trees, for bees making beehives, all kinds of things follow this rule. Now, the symbolism of the pentagram is that the pentagram is a way of depicting the phi ratio. So you cannot draw a pentagram without depicting the phi ratio. Okay, it's impossible. If you're going to make 5 stars joined together, 5 points joined together, you have to explain, you have to demonstrate the phi ratio, which is the golden rule or the golden mean. And this is what the Greeks used when they used a rational system for mathematics. Now, what Robert has found is that this guy, who's a globalist or a globeling, but very well researched, lots of people out there are very well researched but still live on the globe. What this guy has done is he has compiled a series of strange, bizarre anomalies on the Earth. He calls them, what is it? The evil vortices?
The
10 vortices.
Yeah, the 10 vile vortices around the world. Now he has plotted these around the world according to a map. So based on distances and latitudes and these things. Now when you draw out these, this is Robert's discovery. Robert realized that if he draws these out on a azimuthal map, you have a pentagram, which is the same thing that nature uses for growing things. So if you draw a pentagram, if you draw a perfect pentagram, you will find that the land masses that have key nodal points will be, for instance, New Zealand will be on the point. Okay, so if the point of the pentagram is like this on an azimuthal, and the correct way for it to be is like this, then what you do is you put the landmass here, because that's where the vortex has been tested, verified, not somewhere around there, but actually there. And the chances of this pentagram being a bit off kilter are pretty much zero, the same way as the chances of nature not growing under a phi ratio are pretty much zero. And phi ratio, for anybody who's interested, you might have seen this already, is the length of your phalanges, so your digits. This length is just over half of this length, which is just over half of this length, which is just over half of this length, and this length is just over half of this length. And then it breaks down, but it continues again from your feet up, and then you have it again in your face. It's all things that nature uses. It's a ratio, okay? The Greek mathematicians used ratio for measuring, for counting. Their mathematics was a ratio-based mathematics. So these vortices exist. The points where they exist on the Earth exist. So let's draw a pentagram on the Earth. Let's plot those vortices there, and let's see what land masses are there. It's kind of simple, because if you say, look, there's a vortex in, let's say, Madagascar, then you're going to put Madagascar on the vortex, and you're going to put the vortex on Madagascar, not off a bit, you know, and the same with New Zealand. So we can determine where specific points are based on these vortices. This is what Robert has found.
At this point, how beautifully this ties in with what Cami has put forward, because it works. In other words, people do travel the land and they do follow magnetic field lines, and these things can be plotted accurately with latitude and longitude lines that we use in daily GPS travel or whatever it is. In other words, these things must work. They must be logical. They must work with science or mapping. And physically still pan out with all the maps we currently have, despite their distortions, which it does. In other words, we are moving forward without being dismissive of all the current things that do actually work. The maps do get people from place to place, and you don't have to chuck them all out.
There could still be islands above and below that on the same thing without changing anything on that at all. So Cami's map perfectly meshes in with that, and these aren't magnetic poles, they're anomalies and vortexes, so again they don't interfere with the tripole or anything like that. All it does is allow it to open up people's minds of what other things could be, especially with these locations, and like Antonio says, with it linking in with lots of other things that are factual rather than just guess.
Well, the crux of that you skipped over, which was more land. You know, once you can plot out what we have and see that there is a beyond, there is definitely unmapped areas, then, you know, you can ignore your shipping lanes and lobby to go out and look and find, and yes, it will plummet the house prices, and, you know, it won't bring life to an end, though. There's not going to be anarchy on the streets, but there might be somewhere nice beyond Hawaii for me.
Yeah.
I'm going.
So I'd like to go up straight up.
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
Nice, beautiful place that you could just build with your wood and your sticks.
Mount Maru and that type of thing. Yeah, why not?
Wicked. Yes, please, count me in.
No.
Going to Antarctica, no offence, Robert. Sod that. I value my fingers too much. Going somewhere just beyond Hawaii that's got similar climate to here? Yes, please.
Yeah.
Count me in.
So do you guys really think that there might be somewhere just beyond, just south of Hawaii?
Well, I don't know about just south of Hawaii, but I think there is more land. Forget where it is.
Well,
the deception might go even deeper, Antonio. We might be led down a rabbit hole here with pentagrams and stuff that we don't like the end of. You know, we're all open to being wrong. But yes. I think, without doubt, regardless of this map, the next map, we will find that they've hidden land. You know, it's the one thing they're not making any more of. Nonsense! There's just more of it, and it's just hidden.
And the other interesting
island.
If you've got a pentagram, you can almost form two vector shapes, which is the shape that NASA have on their emblem. So, you know, that's another interesting, yes, because they're probably, you know, that's their type of way of rubbing it in everyone's face, which they do on a daily basis with, you know, their footage and saying they've done this and that, when it, you know, it's complete bogus and rubbish. So again,
that's something I asked my wife after she watched Cami explaining the following of magnetic field lines and potentially being a tripole system, which you're obviously expanding further upon. I've lost my train of thought now. What was it? Say again.
The wife was.
Yeah, no, I can't. Well, I've lost a lot of sleep, so
man.
finding it difficult to keep my train of thought at points.
You were thanking your wife.
Thanking you.
Yes. You have something to thank your wife for.
That's a long list.
Yeah. Was it you were thanking your wife for having to figure out a way of explaining things regarding the Earth? Anything like that?
No, I can't remember. It's gone. It'll come back.
You mentioned Cami. You were talking to your wife about the Cami's projection. I think you were saying, explaining the magnetics to her. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, it's gone. It'll come back to me. I can't remember.
Don't worry. When you're not thinking about it, it'll come back.
Precisely. Or not.
So, well, this is going back to Cami and Bob. If we have, okay, on the one hand, real magnetic energetic forces like magnetism and heat, okay, we have these things that can be measured on the Earth and can be plotted on the Earth. So, if we have these things, then we have more esoteric things like bizarre vortices with unknown qualities, like the Bermuda Triangle, like the place in India, that also have a more esoteric symbol, like you have magnetism for these energies. Well, for these energies, you have these points of a pentagon, of a pentagram star that superimposes. If these things start piling up on top, one on top of the other, and then the only thing we have to do is shift lands so they fit there, and we can verify that these lands are there based on the motion of the sun, then what we've done is we've mapped the Earth. That's what we've done. We have just placed the land masses where they are on the plane. It's really kind of simple. And then we can see how things were distorted. And once we see how things were distorted, we already know that this has been turned into this. So distortion has happened. Once we see how things... Say again, Martin.
This is just a picture for the people in the audience to understand what you just said. And basically, it's about projections, but this is what they've done, guys. They say that we're living on that, and they flatten the projection out, so that's an azimuthal projection. I'll just put that there. You can see that for yourself if you want to know what I'm talking
Just
about.
remembered my point, Martin. Sorry to.
Go on.
Well, it was the one word that Robert had said, and it was the word vector. And I asked my wife, I said, do you know what that means? And she was like, no, it's not a familiar word to me. I said, well, now that Cami has figured out the way that you will travel along these curved lines, obviously on a flat plane, and that can be converted into moving around on a spherical plane, once you know this, you can then go much faster if you vector. So vectoring will become a more and more common term that we learn about over the course of the future as travel becomes different in the way you get around. There's no point following these crazy lines of magnetism if you can just vector them and get somewhere much faster. And you will have to vector them if we are going to break beyond this magnetic corridor that keeps us coming back on ourselves in Cami's demonstration of how, again, they've tricked us to keep us beyond where this potential of more land is, you know, with these curved lines. So yeah, vectoring.
Yes. Yeah. Now, just so people know this, Christianity is 2,000 years old. We don't know how long Hercules was worshipped for, or Odin. We don't know how long those gods were worshipped for, but we know that the Christian gods have been worshipped for 2,000 years. The pentagram is much older than 2,000 years. The reason I say this is Satan was invented within the last 2,000 years. And the using of the pentagram, the inverted pentagram, as a way of worshipping Satan is just a gibberish that was put in there to counter the whole idea of the goodness of Christianity. The actual pentagram, the original pentagram, was a symbol for love. It was also the symbol for Venus. Okay, so when people think the pentagram is a symbol of
it was presented before before the Christian religion. Plato, the Platonic, Plato and Democritus both were presented Platonic solids in ancient Greece, AD 4000. Yeah.
Yeah.
1,000 years ago, guys.
Yeah. AD 2000. No. BC. Yeah. So the point is the symbol, like the swastika. The swastika is an ancient Indian symbol. Ancient, okay? You can't think that any diagram is actually representative of something evil, okay? You can't. The yin-yang was trying to express the duality of life. You can't take the dark bit of the yin-yang and say that bit is evil. It's just trying to represent things, okay? So the pentagram is trying to represent the beauty of love, because love is beautiful. And the reason it was used is that it has the golden ratio in it. You cannot draw a pentagram without using the golden ratio. It's impossible. You cannot. Okay? So that's what the pentagram shows. And the golden ratio that the pentagram shows is also the golden ratio that's extrapolated and expounded on in the Fibonacci sequence. Okay? This is what the pentagram actually means. It doesn't mean Satan. It's much older than Christianity, much older than the Jewish religion, much older than Satan. Unfortunately, if we have people who think that we've only been around for just over 2,000 years, then we're talking to people that, believe what they've been told. And, you know, belief is the enemy of knowledge. That's all I'll say.
I mean, this is something that I should say at this point, though. You're pointing out about things like the Fibonacci sequence point towards a creator. Now, not dismissing anything you've just said or disagreeing with it even. In fact, I agree with you. This is probably one of the very reasons we have the show called Mechanics of the Fourth Wall, because of this subject. You know, the sort of the subliminal and the twisting and distorting of things like this pentagram, which has become symbology rather than something beautiful. And I think it's a nice tie-in to the way the map will inevitably end up looking. I think what's behind you, no offence to the that map, but it's not a beautiful image. And I think once finished, it will be a lot more beautiful.
It's not balanced. This image is not balanced.
Yeah.
You know, it's obviously off balance. This has been created to try to remove any semblance of order to it. Okay, God did not make this shape. God's shape is more balanced. Okay, it is not off kilter. It's not random. Okay, so, and I don't want to get sidetracked into the chat, but Delise, no, the pentagram is not evil. Okay, what's evil are your thoughts about evil. That's
no, they
evil.
made it evil, the powers that be, by perverting everything that they do. Like they done with the swastika, it was meant to be peace, and then they made it an evil thing. It's the powers that do it.
Correct.
And do switch the
with a
duality.
little research, sorry Robert, with a little research you will scratch the surface and you'll find, oh, lo and behold, it is evil. And, you know, it'll all get linked back to people who have control and power, and they'll be worshipping these bloody symbols. It's nonsense. It's all nonsense.
Let's look at what people did who really believed that there was a Satan, a Lucifer, and real evil. Let's look at what they did. They took children that they thought were evil and burnt them at the stake. That means listening to them screaming. They took women, predominantly, and burnt them at the stake. That means listening to them screaming. Now, these deeds were evil, okay? This is what evil does. It persuades you that evil is okay as long as you're doing it for the right cause. No, okay? This is what evil is. It's believing something that can dictate your moves, your behavior to the world for nothing other than appeasing your beliefs. That's what evil is.
And "your" is the word that's key in there, because evil is within all of us. We are all capable of evil, if you want to quantify it like that. And people justifying it with demons and devils and worship of this and worship nonsense. You, the person watching, can do evil things. You can also choose not to do evil things. You can choose to say that the good thing you did that day was as a net result of Jesus coming to you, or you can just say, I have done a good deed for the day, as opposed to I've done an evil deed for the day. But evil as an entity, people are evil. People do evil things. Antonio talked about burning witches. Well, men took women and burnt them. That's a man taking a woman, tying her to a stake and burning her. That's not some devil. That's a guy tying a woman to a stake and burning him.
What it basically was the church had a decree where anybody who declared a witch, which basically meant anybody who was worshipping anything other than the Catholic Church, anybody who reported such a person, so say the old wise woman of the village, or the young wise woman, or the old wise man, okay, the men were killed very quickly, because let's not forget it was the Romans who came here and brought Catholicism, okay, so the men had been killed, it was just the women left. Now, not just the women, but in terms of the wise women, the dreamers, the people who communed with the spirits, okay, not the spirits of evil, but the spirits of nature, the spirit of God. People who communed with the spirit of God, if they were not worshipping Jesus, then they could be reported. Now, the person that did the reporting would receive a third of the possessions of the person that reported, and the church would take the other thirds. Okay, so anybody that had any amount of influence very quickly started towing the line with the Catholic Church, or they would be reported. Do you understand how evil that is? That's what happened. That's what happened in Spain. That's what happened in France. That's what happened in the UK, mainly in the UK, because the UK was one of the last to be brought to the Roman Empire. And in the UK, the old systems continued, and they were pretty old too. So you had the the Irish, the Welsh, the English, and the Scots, all tribes. Yes, all tribes who had a way of nature worship. They were called pagans, heretics, and witches. Okay. And just one more point. The original word in the Bible where it condemns witches, do not suffer witches, the original word is poisonous. Okay, do not suffer poisonous. Okay, yes, don't suffer poisonous to live with you and poison your food and the food of the children. Of course, not witches. Witches were not invented until the Christians came along. It was a way of saying those nasty people.
What I was going to add to that was we are educated into this paradigm. As Westerners, we are generally brought up in a Christian or a Muslim or a whatever religion, and we are brought up to believe in these powers of godly types. Yes, they're all given to us as being beautiful and nice, if you want to call it that. But, as a lot of people in the truth-seeking community find, the flip side of that is that when you scratch the surface, you peel back a few layers of the onion, you find that the people in power worship the devil. And oh my God, do people hark on about this? No. Russian vids, I love the guy, I watch his videos non-stop, I think he's brilliant, but he has totally bought into this paradigm. The net result of this is he gets airtime because he is promoting that paradigm. He is saying, I've been brought up to believe in God, this powerful entity, and Jesus, his man on the earth, and the flip side of that, the devil. Now, when you find out that, you know, in the spin that's put out there with Barack Obama saying thank you Satan, when you backmask his speeches, when you see this, you're led down a rabbit hole that leads you to finding out that actually it's true. And loads of people Antonio and I have spoken to off air genuinely buy into this and are shocked and amazed and go, no, but they really do believe that the Satan is real. And yeah, no shit, yes, we know a lot of them do actually believe their own bullshit. You know, but it's still nonsense. There is no evil power that they are worshipping and bowing down to. It's giving them lightning out of their bloody fingers. They're just the same men tying women to stakes and burning them.
And
That's the same guy.
It's the same mentality that believes in the globe as well, I think.
And also, Robert, sorry to interrupt you in your own hangout. The mentality that would have people cheering as somebody was burnt to death,
Yeah.
okay, that mentality which has come as brainwashing, okay, this person screams the power of God purifying them, okay.
Trauma-based mind control, same as it's ever been.
It is, okay. Now, if we think very clearly now, if we try to think objectively, we know that you can't say Muhammad was a twat, okay, in a Muslim place, because they won't look kindly on it. Okay, we know this. Okay, now, can you say the same about Jesus? Let's just imagine that somebody said that about Jesus.
Ooh.
How would we be treated? Okay, so all the Christians out there, think of what you're doing. You're imposing thought police. You're not allowed to question, you're not allowed to say, okay? Or you can question, but we will say that you're just flat out wrong, deluded, or evil, okay? And the situation is, maybe you've been brainwashed, you know? Maybe Jaron was right. Maybe the Bible, all the bits that are true and fair to make sense, all of the bits that make don't, is old wisdom and old science. All the bits that don't, that contradict, all the things that contradict, and all of the gibberish, like Abraham sending out his servants to get raped and buggered instead of his guests. His servants and his daughter, by the way, those bits, let's not forget about that, okay?
In the Bible.
In the Bible, okay? So all of that, those bits weren't written by wisdom and science. They were written by maybe the Romans and the Council of Nicaea, and by evil people. So if you haven't read your Bible with your eyes open, if you've just read it to confirm what you already believed, you have not read the Bible. I have read the Bible. That's why I left Catholicism.
A realization, Antonio, this whole tangent has spanned off the trolls in our chat right now.
I bet.
We've gone from
we should be spliced the fuck. No, you're a fucking evil guy. No, mate.
Well, it's because we've got a pentagram in it. I mean,
yes!
it is very much on
the Bible was not written by God.
Brought forward before the superstitions of fucking men from the Middle Ages.
The Bible was not written by God. It was written by Satan. How can we say this? Because the Bible has done nothing but divide people, and anything written by God would do nothing but unite people. So fuck you if you think the Bible was written by God.
Well, on that note, moving forward, we're finding out information that will actually help us progress finding where we live and where we can map things accurately. And while we're getting this, we're getting knocked from the leaders, the people who would literally come forward and say that they have bought us the flat Earth personally. I'm talking specifically about Eric DeBay. Now, I mirrored a video by Paul Michael Bales where he points out all the various different people that have come to him over the last 12 months, dissension in the ranks, the IFAs nonsense.
Oh,
wow! It's meet the new boss, same as the old boss. The IFAs just seems to be the same flat Earth society in terms of the way it's controlled opposition, more spewing of nonsense and hatred. The whole shill and CIA bullshit meme has come pretty much from him, and directed 90% of his energies against people like Patricia Steer. You know, this guy has pissed me off since the moment I've come into Flat Earth, and because I try and steer clear psychopaths, I've not tried to compile any evidence, whereas Paul Michael Bales, who's the most chilled out, calm, collected, well-researched, cool guy you'll ever meet, has. And I'm not going to say it's because he's pissed off, but understandably the guy's got a bit of an axe to grind, and he's just, you know, compiled his thoughts over the course of the last 12 months, and in this video just said, these are the facts, this is what's happened over the last 12 months, this is what this guy has done. And, you know, was it Lenin, if you want to control the opposition, lead them?
Yeah.
Well, there you go, you've got him with he is the biggest flat earther out there at the moment. He's got the most subscribers, he's got the most views. You know, well, he should, like Jaron says with science, he should stand up to scrutiny more than anybody. If he's the one who is leading the charge as far as YouTube's concerned, he should stand up to more scrutiny as far as I'm concerned. And far from it, you know, he's the one pushing people away, banning them on the sites. The last nail in the coffin for me was when I came across a comment from him on the Globebusters site. So he's saying, oh, what's all this nonsense with this new map? It's like, hang on a second. Your information is dusty old stuff from books handed to you from Paul Michael Bales, and you're repeating it verbatim, stuff that's been presumably debunked and scrutinised for, you know, 100 years. That's what you're happy to content to just completely repeat verbatim, and now it transpires with mistakes and errors that seem to be deliberate. This is outrageous. You know, somebody's got to stand up for truth, honesty, and more importantly, like we're doing on this very show, moving forward, you know, making new discoveries. So to see ridicule from a guy like Eric DeBay on that Globebusters video where they're exposing 12 solid months of research by Cami Nodal, I was appalled. Yeah. So to see Paul Michael Bales actually standing up and going, look, why are we giving this guy credence? On any other day, I'd say this nonsense, calling people CIA agents and calling them Hollywood actors, that's nonsense. It's just causing division. I would not want to buy into it. But I said this to Antonio earlier. It's like in Life of Brian, when everyone in the crowd is saying, I'm Brian, because they all want to get released. Well, one of the crowd, in this case Paul Michael Bales, he's got his hand up going, I'm Brian, but he's actually, you know, pointing out a real guy who is, it seems, trying to hold things back. He's in the Globebusters chat saying, nah, you know, this is rubbish, shill. No, sorry, mate. Bob's a good guy. You know, I've spoken, we all have on this panel, we all know Bob. Bob's a bloody good guy. He's working very hard. But for what? For nothing in terms of his own personal gain. It's not getting, you know, famous. He's not being more liked for what he does. This is a long rant.
No, Nathan, you bang on, brother. The effort he puts in, all of them. For what?
Bang on, Paul. If you're watching this, good for you. All
God bless you, brother.
Same before, you put it in a really concise. I said this to him on a comment. Totally unedited video. You know, he's just spewing out what he's said 100 times before. He's not changed his story. He's not had to present any evidence because it's all out there for people to find. You know, people have made videos and presented this information to him. He's just talking about it. You know, he does present his opinion, and good for him. He's got a God-given right to. Anyway, rant over.
Brilliant.
I felt the same. I watched it. I felt exactly the same.
Do you know what we're seeing? So, sorry, Martin. Man, I hate it when I talk over people.
No, go on. I was only just reiterating Nathan is all. Go on.
If we see what's happening, okay, last week with Globebusters and their apology, which they didn't need to issue about not having the map and the model, and Robert's new discovery with the pentagram, okay, which is the symbol of love, Nora, then what we're seeing is a much heavier assault, okay? We're seeing a heavier assault by trolls, and we're seeing a heavy assault by certain Christians within the flat earth, because there are certain Christians within the flat earth who get the flat earth because of the Bible. There are certain Christians within the flat earth who they're really good Christians in and out of the flat earth, but there are also bad people in the flat earth. We know this, and we know that there are also bad Christians in the flat earth. We also know there's good. Remember, I just said that, okay? There are people who are good and a Muslim or Buddhist or non-denomination, okay? You can't be a flat earther and not be good. But if the thing that you think is causing you to be good is a warped idea that you haven't thoroughly researched, you have to look outside of the Bible to research the Bible and who wrote it. Like, for instance, who wrote the book of Job? It wasn't Job, okay? So who was there when the Lord brought to him the sons of God, and along with them came Satan, okay? So along with the sons of God went Satan to see God, and God said, where hast thou been? And Lucifer said, I have been going to and fro to the earth and walking up and down in it, okay? Who was writing this? It wasn't Job, it wasn't Lucifer, it wasn't one of the other sons of God. What is this plural sons of God? I thought there was only one son of God. Oh, the only begotten son of God. In that case, the other sons of God were not sons. So can you start to see some of the gibberish there? So there are people who are good people, and there are people who are not. There are people who use excuses for what they do, and there are people who use reasons. Now, some people use reasons to do bad things. They don't think they're bad because they think they're doing them for good. And then there are the people who know in their heart that they're doing the right thing, regardless of what they believe. I don't do good things because of Jesus. I do good things because doing the good thing is the right thing to do. And there are people who do the right thing because of Jesus. It doesn't matter. They're still doing the right thing. You know? And right now, we're coming together to form the freaking globe. Look at what happened to Tiger Dan when he did it. He went off his head, okay? Now, we're coming together to finish the globe and just establish the shape of the world that we live in, where the land masses are, okay? That's what we're doing. We know this is incorrect. All of these type of things are incorrect. We know this. So we're going to do one that is correct. And now the trolls come in a huge push, and people who aren't happy with ideas that are non-Christian also come with a big push. But the people who are Christian but not very, very profoundly Christian, who don't fully understand the meaning behind Christianity, is that anything that was made, including pentagrams, were made by God, by the gods, by the energies, okay? So get your head out of your Bible, put your head into your heart and start seeing the world clearly, okay? Because otherwise, all you're going to cause is problems to yourself. You're going to see evil everywhere. You're going to see pentagrams as the symbol of evil. No. Do you think that some child is doing it extra evil if they're wearing a pentagram and as if they're wearing a crucifix? Because let's face it, the person wearing the crucifix is the priest, isn't it? Who's buggering the child. Does that mean that the crucifix is evil? So let's start opening your eyes, people. We're going to establish the shape of the earth. We have a model that works. It works with the orbiting of the sun above the plane, the orbiting of the moon, the locations of the land masses, and people can't handle this because they've been kind of doing a little bit of spiritual masturbating. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of reality gazing. Over to you guys.
Yeah, awesome, thank you.
Well, what I was going to say to Robert, maybe for people who've joined in on the show later, we're talking about pentagrams for a specific reason. Maybe you can remind the audience exactly what it is that we're talking about and why we're talking about it.
Yeah, it was a simple Google search that I did just on magnetic maps from let's just bring it up so I can have a look and then quote it. So it's a magnetic map from the National Ocean and Atmospheric Administration, and then I was looking at the relationship of that with the magnetic points, because that shows you the declination of where the magnets slope off and change. And this is like a 2015 map. And again, all the links will be placed in the description after the Hangout finishes, so everyone can see what I was looking at. But it was this chap called Dave Childress, and I believe Martin explained it. He explained it a lot better. Martin knew him more than I did. I just looked at the map and thought it was intriguing, and used. I'll bring this up now. I used. Screen share. That's okay. I'm going to screen share it so people can see. Okay. So this is what the website is, and they modeled it on a globe, the anomaly points around the world where all these situations happen, like Bermuda Triangle, and all I did was actually just place it over map. I'll just stop screen sharing. So all I did was place it over. Started with that from the straight map, and the straight map showed those locations. So let's hold it nice and straight. So those are the locations on there. Let's get it up the right way, make it seem a little clearer. And then from that location, I bent that round the azimuthal map and then projected it onto it like that. So it just allowed me to see that it was forming a shape rather than it just being random dots and anywhere. It didn't form that. But what it did allow me to do is where things should have been didn't quite match up, and it wasn't symmetry. So it was interesting.
Have you got
these are sorry, Antonio. So these are points on the ground that have got significance, and then we've got Cami demonstrating from mainstream science that they've actually plotted the direction of travel in terms of how the stars move across the same flat plane. So we've got things on the ground now matching up with what we see literally from mainstream science plotted in the sky, but the way all our maps work is they've been shifted in terms of where the meridian line is from basically down the Nile, with Giza being the prime meridian point, and it's been shifted across to where we are, or Greenwich. And this is essentially the shift that stops things on the ground, like you're showing in this pentagram formation, matching up with what we see above us. And if they were to line up, it would be far more obvious in terms of us just rapidly figuring out how our world actually works. And this is how they've hidden it. This is again what Cami has jumped for joy when she's figured it out. When she's cracked the primer, she's got very, very excited, because you can literally say as above so below. And what Robert's demonstrating is that this does work, and it will bring us forward. It will give us more accurate mapping. More importantly, it shows, or it answers another question which I've asked for 12 months now, which is, do they really know? Do they actually know how the world really works? Is it that they've told us it's a globe because they've gone along with an ignorance that, and in reality the answer to that is no. They are most definitely aware of how our world works, and unfortunately, as much as I hate to say this, the globe is a grand deception. It is the biggest lie mankind has ever known. And this confirms it. the fact that we have from mainstream science, as Cami has unearthed in really low resolution, tucked away somewhere, you know, they do have this all plotted out beautifully, and it works. And when you tie those with the magnetic field lines that we follow on the ground, that we use daily to get around, you know, as Cami said again, I'm just echoing what she said basically, and we use these things daily, we do get around, we do have to take flights, we do have to, on the sea, follow the corridors, you know, we have to get around.
But in you and help you.
You go, Martin.
An 1880s projection unit of basically seaways, sea lanes, and basically, if you've got any doubts that what the vortices, right? Now these were completely aware, because every single shipping lane passes or goes nowhere near the Bermuda Triangle in the 1880s, guys. This is before any digital era. Now this is a Handsworth Atlas from 1880, okay, guys? 1883. And this is the sea lanes. Now the only thing available then is tramp steamers. There's only steam power, okay? So what you see here, I can just show you this, is a projection of the Atlantic Ocean. And if you see basically off the coast of Miami, the Bermuda Triangle is completely barren of any sea lanes. They dodge it completely in 1880. There's your proof that they know that there are vortices. Okay, there's your proof.
Yeah, big triangle in the
1880s, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just
Robert,
one of the points, so isn't it?
Robert, do you have a printer with you?
Yes.
Yeah. Would you be? I put the Kobayashi map in. I put a link to it in the chat. Would you be able to print it, and then we can all of us together,
please,
plot the points on the Kobayashi?
Can do, yeah.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Did you put it in Skype, or because I can only
No,
see
here in the chat here on Google.
Okay, it's duplicate.
Good thinking, Antonio. Maybe if we can talk amongst ourselves, so Robert's less distracted and can just focus on that one thing.
Yeah, if he prints it out, then you know. In fact, we could all join in and say, okay, where does point 1 go? You know, you know, we've got the thing here. We can see, okay, let's start with New Zealand, or let's start wherever. Let's orient it so the point is facing up, because that way it's not at all satanic.
I like your style, Antonio. I must admit, it's giving me goosebumps.
What set is it?
Very cool.
You know, I just want to say something, okay? I mean no offense to anybody, okay? I don't mean any offense regarding any of the comments that I've made. I could just be mistaken, and I'm sure that you're already thinking that anyway, okay? I don't mean any offense, but you have to be aware that the way you behave to the world, you mold it, okay? And I was feeling a lot of anger, and when you think that your version of religion is correct, you push that onto the world, and you're forcing people to behave differently according to that. I'm sure you speak to an archbishop differently to how you speak to a milkman, okay? It's still a human being.
Cue the soundbite of you saying something like, what was it? God, I wish I could quote it verbatim. If you don't believe the Bible's written by the devil, then fuck you.
No. If you believe the Bible was written by God. Basically, this comes from, I really like Bill Hicks, okay? I really liked him, okay? And he was a Christian, and he liked Jesus. He got the concept of Jesus, the concept of Jesus as a human, not as the sayings and all of that. As the human is essentially pure and good. Now, onto that have been peppered all kinds of gibberish, but you can't tell which bit is gibberish and which bit isn't, okay? Because you don't know which bit is which, okay? But if you think of the character, the historical Emmanuel, this person was good, okay? So he would put stuff in there that's confusing, is stupid. And what Bill Hicks said was basically, if the Bible was written by God, if it was the Word of God, it would be impossible to misinterpret it. It would be the clearest, easiest to follow, the most easily understood thing ever. Okay? Nobody has to be taught to love their mother or father. Nobody has to be taught that. Nobody has to be taught how to give birth. You know, these are things that come naturally. If the Bible was written by God, it would come naturally. You wouldn't have to go to special lessons, Sunday school, have different interpretations. It would be impossible.
Sorry. Got to interrupt. Not true. true.
Go. What?
You said nobody has got to be taught to love their mother and father. Well, not true. So psychopaths, they do not love their mother and father. They see that they are useful.
Yes,
and
wait. What about when they're a baby?
Still, when they're a baby.
Yeah,
psychopaths are a psychopath when they're a baby.
They don't.
Let me just get this in. When I said something similar or had a conversation along a similar lines with Thomas Sheridan, he said a psychopath baby would go for the nipple, like really go for it.
Right.
So, it stuck in my mind because he was talking about breasts. But but that's how he described it. It was like they're more selfish and more. They appreciate that there is a. I hate to be pedantic on this sort of point.
I love it because the truth is there are really twisted people. So let me add a caveat. No kind of natural human being has to be taught these things. There you go. So no natural human being would have to have any reason for any kind of confusion regarding anything in the Bible. Now there's lots, and if you don't see the distortions there, if you haven't asked yourself who wrote the Genesis and the Exodus and the book of Job, who wrote it, then what are you doing? What are you reading? You're reading something where the writer has refused to put their name to it. This is a big. When we see advertisements on TV or in the media, and you don't see who's created that advert, that's a bit of an alarm bell to me, because the truth is it could be some nasty nefarious organization. In fact, we know the nasty nefarious organizations do things secretly and don't announce who they are. So why would somebody not put their signature, not say written by? And if it's they didn't want fame, and no, that's gibberish. Okay. Also, just to final nail for Job, he is perfect and he is the greatest man in the East. Now, back then, there was the Emperor of China, and he had a lot more than 6,000 camels and all those things. He had a lot more than those things. So he was greater than Job. So already, and you can say, oh no, that's just an expression. If you start excusing the Bible, then come on.
I was just going to say, that's just a metaphor.
Yeah. So if you're excusing things, do you know what? If we and people are going to maybe raise an eyebrow because I've talked about Tolkien and the Lord of the Rings a lot. The Silmarillion explains that the world was made by sounds. Okay, and the sounds became different kinds of beings, and those beings had different abilities to create things. This is all in the Silmarillion. It's like a genesis of the world.
And God said,
yes,
let there be light. Well, said, that would be a sound, would it not?
Yes. But instead, God had a melody, started playing the melody, and the different sounds became different instruments, and the different instruments became different players, and the different players had different effects, and they blah, 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 all these things. Read the Silmarillion. But anyway.
How are you getting on, Robert?
The link that you popped in the Hangout was a duplicate for the original post, so I didn't actually get the link on there. If you look now.
Yeah, I got one, Robert. I'm just looking at it. I got one on the newspaper. I got one free of the newspaper.
Oh, sorry,
really
Robert.
big. So I'll get
Robert.
that.
That's okay.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
Bummer. We've been killing time for ages.
Yeah.
I've been killing my time trying to find it as well.
Right. So
for anyone who's just tuned in, what we're now doing is looking for a link to the Kobayashi map so we can actually literally plot out these points live on air. So we're going to print it out and literally put the points on, see how it looks. Why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully. Did you put a link to it in the chat, Martin?
No, he hasn't yet.
We're still waiting for one of you to put a link for Martin or for Robert to print it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. These map books, sometimes I really wish I was still with Windows. It was so easy to send things like this.
Martin, can you hear us? No.
It will
Can
be
you-
there directly, fellas. I'm just taking it, putting it on a stick, and I'll put it in there, and it'll be there now, within the minute. Okay?
Nice.
Nathan,
Yes.
you know Max, don't you?
I know maps.
No, Max. MacBook Pros and Apple products.
Not really. I've got to be
Oh.
honest. I use a PC. I do have a Mac, but it's currently being used as a webcam to monitor my child.
So I want to send this to Robert. Oh.
I think Martin sent it by now, hopefully.
Yes, it'll be there now.
Where is it, Martin?
It's coming.
It's in.
Oh, it's coming.
Goodbye. Right. I just had to take it off my computer. I'm ready. I'll put it in the internal chat here, boyo. Okay?
Thank you.
I just realised you could just go to the internet, find it, and send a link to it
Got
on the
it.
internet.
I mean,
Didn't pay.
maybe we should put it on because this is being recorded for everyone to look
Yeah,
at.
exactly.
It's currently 5 to 1 in the morning here in Britain, where we all are. For me, certainly, it's been a very long day. We're not all incompetent, I promise.
Oh, just me.
Find
This
the
was
Kobayashi
something
map
that-
and
it
bring
was
it up.
something-
I haven't even tried.
It was.
You
a
are. Put it
spur-
into Skype for you, Robert. There's one there, look.
It was a spur of the moment hangout, so nothing was really planned. It was only when I
No.
Well,
discovered the map.
while hopefully, Robert, are you on the case with it now? Have you had that link?
Still waiting.
Have you got it? Have you not?
Nope.
Martin,
I'll
still
put it
waiting
through
on this
Skype
link.
for you then, Robert. There it is. All right.
It's coming. It's coming slow mail, so I've not got it yet.
It's in Skype.
In Skype.
There's one without. Yeah.
Ah, there we are.
One copy and paste in there. See.
Do
Right,
you
well-
have it, Robert?
Yeah, I do know it was taken.
Right. Well, while Robert's on the case, we'll now chit chat amongst ourselves to give you some
Yeah.
time to do that. So, a couple of things that they went over on Globebusters that was quite amazing. One, you got a shout out from Curious Life of Flat Earther in regards to your what did you call it now? Flat Earth lightsabers.
Oh yeah.
So he was basically pointing out alongside the still that Robert Pisano had provided them of this like quadruple laser pointing up to a layer of saline in the firmament or space, whatever you want to call it.
Sodium.
Sodium. Yes, that's what they say. What they say is twofold. One, they're heating up layers of sodium in order to see how light is refracted.
Create stars.
Yeah. The other is they are creating guide stars to see how the light is refracted as it comes through the layer of sodium. Both of these explanations are gibberish. Because if the stars were as far away as they say they are, then causing anything that refracts at such proximity wouldn't help you discern how the light
Meaningless.
from. Yeah, it's gibberish. Who knows what they're doing? But what we know for sure is that the stars they're pointing at are very close by. Oh, let's see, Robert.
Oh, here we go. Have you got your screen
Okay.
presented to the people?
Yes, I will.
Yep. Here we go.
Okay, now let's start putting these points, Robert.
Right.
Okay, do you have a red marker?
No, I don't. I've only got.
Do you have a red?
Pressure's on, Robert. The pressure's
Pressure's
on.
on.
Do you have anything that's
This is live
coloured?
science, Nathan. This is
It's going
best
out
as you
live,
get it.
Robert. Robert, come on,
Almost.
mate. What are you
Robert,
doing?
no pressure.
No pressure at all.
He works better than the pressure. He told me, Nathan. He told me.
Any mistake at all, and Laurie, you know, boring and bitter, will tear into you.
Like flies on shit, mate, if you get this wrong.
Yes. So, Robert, do you have a coloured pen or a coloured pencil?
I've got just a pencil at the moment. No,
But do you not have
I
anything
do.
coloured?
not on hand. Yeah.
You can go. We'll sing. Come on, guys. Let's do a
Right,
trio.
Robert, grab that, mate.
No, really, Robert, it would be easier for
seriously.
everybody to see if you make it in colour.
Yeah,
Really
if you knock the cameras so we can talk amongst ourselves, just get yourself prepped. We've got all the time in the world. There's no worries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Let's do Life of Brian.
No, let's not.
Oh. I was going to start right at the start. Oh, who are you? We're three wise men. Wait, sorry. Oh, who are you? We're three wise men. What? We are three wise men. We have come from the east. We followed a star.
Follow the bottle, more like.
Follow a bottle, more like. So what you're doing, creeping around the cowshed at 3 o'clock in the morning, that doesn't sound very wise to me. We've come to praise the infant. We've come to pay homage. Homage? You're drunk. Nathan?
No, we bring gifts. Get out. No,
What you got then?
Myrrh. Well, make yourself at home then.
Yes, what is myrrh anyway? It is a precious balm. It is a valuable balm. A balm? What are you giving him a balm for? It might bite him. No, it's an ointment. No, it's a balm. Or did I dream it? Anyway,
Brian.
do a lot of this.
I remember being told by my parents
not so much
that
of the
wasn't allowed
frankincense.
It's classed as blasphemous. So I was from obviously a Christian family, and they said no, you absolutely cannot watch Life of Brian. So that was it. I made it my mission to watch that movie.
There's priests outside my city centre cinema. Priests and nuns stopping you going in. They did the same for The Exorcist, though. So you know.
Yeah.
They used to air Exorcist in a cinema in Birmingham. It was one of the few cinemas that had a license to actually air it while it was banned as like a midnight screening in the Odeon in Birmingham. So it was like they'd still screen it because you couldn't go out and buy it. So you just had to go to the cinema and see it at a midnight screening. I
watched in the cinema. I was scared. I had to go to the toilet on my own, and I didn't like it very much.
It is a very scary movie.
First time I'd seen it as well, Nathan, in the cinema. It was a dark cinema too, and I thought, oh god, this is so fucking scary. I gotta go to the toilet on my own now.
Before we go off it, but Terry Gillingham the other night, weren't we? Was it on? I can't remember if it was live or not.
Time Bandits.
Time Bandits, yeah, exactly. I mean, there's so many sort of stuff, so many movies that you go back to being a flat earther.
12
They got a
Monkeys
map, and it's 12 Monkeys has got a flat Earth map in that. But no, Nathan, with that Time Monkeys, they've got a map on there, and it marks up portals on the map.
On 12 Monkeys.
Through in time.
Time Bandits or 12 Monkeys? You said Time Monkeys.
Time Bandits, you just triggered a thought. I seen the map that they had. They had a map. I'm just going to have to get a look at that. I'm going to download that, Phil.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, do you do a lot of this? What? This praising? No, it's just him. Well, what is he? He is the Son of God, our Messiah, King of the Jews.
No, what star sign?
No, what star sign is he? Oh, he's Capricorn. And what they like? Oh, yeah.
He's the Messiah, he's King of the Jews. Wow, that's Capricorn, is it?
No, it's just him. Oh, well, thanks very much. Thank you very much.
Brian, there's a multitude out here.
Yeah.
Yes. Life of Brian is a superb
movie. What I want to know is why did he have his girlfriend have to be a Welsh tart? Gwendolyn.
Why not? Why not?
What, a Welsh tart in fucking Palestine, Ant?
Come on, one of the guys crucified doesn't want to be crucified with a Swedish, and he's Welsh.
Fair enough. Makes perfect sense to me, anyway.
Have I got a big nose, Mum? Oh, stop thinking about sex. I wasn't. You're always.
Well, you know where you came from. You were one of the Romans, wasn't he?
Exactly. Maybe we should remind people what we're waiting on. So, what in case people are thinking, what are they talking about Life of Brian?
I need to plan.
We are doing lines from The Life of Brian whilst we wait for Robert to scrabble crazily around the house looking for a working coloured pen or felt tip or coloured pencil. Because he's going to display something on black and white paper, and if he displays it with black, then we're not really going to be able to see it very well. So that's what we're doing.
So he's going to plot out this pentagram. Oh wow, we're back.
We're back. I've got a pen which will help do it, and I've got a blue one, so it stands out slightly. So yeah, if you look at that on there we go. So that's
that's fine. That's easy to see. Okay, not one mistake now, Robert, please.
This is my test, my online drawing skills, is it? Kind of thing.
Yes.
So you're going to do them one by one and name what they are and put them on and
I'm
point
gonna.
them out.
Well, again, it's not got a circle on it, so I've got to draw the, the
It
equivalent.
doesn't matter. Just draw the points at the nearest land masses.
Start on the Bermuda Triangle, one you can identify and work your way east or something.
Yeah, I'll do that now.
So while Robert does it, Martin, if you can just explain what you've just said.
Yeah, sure. Robert, what he's doing, we got the Kabawashi map, just trying that azimuth because it's quite an intriguing one. There's a few different things on there, like Australia's a little bit further round, and the whole of Asia is more accurately sized and swiveled around. So we're going to, basically what Robert's going to do now, he's going to try this shape over the new Kabawashi projection, and he's going to see what comes up. Now I think there's going to be something interesting. I just got a sneaky feeling. I don't know why. I'm hoping.
We're going to do them one at a time, and we're starting with the Bermuda Triangle. So
yeah. Just for that, he's going to identify all the basically mystical and sacred sites, which are vortice points. Okay, 10 vortice points. When you can look at these vortice points how you will. One thing I do know, people who live in these areas say that the veil is thin between dimensions in these areas. Just throwing it out there. But so he's going to work his way east. So the next one, I suppose, will be Giza, and then over to India, through into Asia, and then he's going to link them all up, and we're going to see what comes out. Okay, guys.
Sorry, Martin, you just said that there's. Did you say something about the veil being thin between what?
Yeah. There are certain areas, like they say this happens on ley line crossing points as well. But there's a place in the Vale of Glamorgan near where I live. It's not very, it's a bit of a mystical place, is the Vale of Glamorgan, and the veil, they say, is thin. And it's basically in a book got by an American called David Wilcock. Now, have you heard of him? He's a big sci-fi writer. Yeah, well, I got a book by him called The Synchronicity Key, and there's a chapter in there actually about the Welsh valleys, and this happening that happened there to do with crop circles, and basically what they were termed up as fairy circles, basically. Fairies dancing around, and some policeman got abducted, and another fella got arrested for the disappearance and, possible murder of this guy. But people heard this guy days later calling from what seemed like distant, far away. So the villagers went out and looked, and they apparently seen this guy in the centre of a said crop circle being danced around by said entities in a sort of twilight zone place in between realities, fading in and out. They grabbed him and pulled him into this veil. So going on that, just that bit alone, that I believe that there are places that Tibetans say exactly the same. Now, the Tibetan region, right, is not inhabited by these high vibration monks, and nowhere else are these monks like this on the plane, but in Tibet, for no reason whatsoever. This place is, the veil is thin between dimensions, I believe, in these mystical and sacred sites, which is why also probably crystalline structure, something to do with that as well. These focal points is what they had emphasised. Oh wow!
Again,
guys, I'm screen sharing.
Hold on, Antonio, because I think Robert's just literally done it.
Okay, yeah. I was just screen sharing the points, the actual layout. This.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Can you see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are where these points are. So.
Again, I'm not the best drawer, as you can see.
Let's see, Robert. I'll stop screen sharing.
It's upside down a little bit, isn't it?
This is, yeah. So again, I've just kind of roughly drawn on. It's still forming a shape within that. Again, you'd have to mark the positions of where the equator is and where the Tropic of Capricorn and Tropic of Cancer are, and then from those points, then you can lay the triangle grid out all the way around.
Sorry, Antonio, can you just pull up what you just had up again now and just point them out with your mouse? Sorry to be a pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is because it's a nice way to round out the show. If you now we've actually done it to actually show both and have you point them out with the mouse, and then Robert point them out on that map he's just done. That's cool.
So, Robert, are you looking at the screen? Can you see?
Yep, it's on you now.
Okay. Am I displaying to the people in YouTube?
Yeah.
So these are the points, are they not?
Those are the points, yeah.
Yeah, they're both on the tropics.
And
so there's one in northern India, one in just off the coast of the tip of Madagascar, one in, I think it's Libya, I think this is.
Yeah.
What is this? One in, what would be here?
Rio de Janeiro.
I don't know. It's off the coast of
the
Brazil.
Rio de Janeiro anomaly.
Yeah, but it's off the coast. Then there's one at the Bermuda Triangle.
No, that's Brazil. So.
No. Here, 18.
That's pointing north now. Yeah, that's the Bermuda Triangle, mate.
Then there's this point here.
Easter Island.
Then this point here.
Whatever's on there.
Hawaii.
Yeah. That's Hawaii, is it?
Yeah.
Then we have here. Is that Haiti? Tahiti?
Loyalty Island.
Loyalty Island, yeah.
Okay. Then we have here, which is...
That's quite a famous triangle. The Devil's Triangle, or just off the coast, or the Chinese Triangle, they call it, don't they?
Chinese
yeah.
And then this one, which is... Where is this?
The Indian Ocean, off of Darwin.
So, these are the points.
Perfect.
So,
Robert, can you now share yourself and show...
If I can just say one thing, David, Nathan, sorry.
Sorry.
David? Why did I think David? Just one thing for people here. This line that goes from 43 up and to the left continues on the other side of the screen up to India. So this is a zigzag. These dotted lines would be a zigzag on this type of display. But when you take those lines and you put them together, then you have... So they're similar to what Robert's going to show. So I'm not...
So those are the lines, those are the positions and points and mark, and then that's what shape it gives from those locations.
Can you just point out the Bermuda Triangle, just so people have got a reference point to start from?
Yeah, just put it on me so I can see. So the Bermuda Triangle, if we're looking at it now,
it's North or South America.
Look for Florida Panhandle. It's just off east of that.
There we go. So that's
a bit closer, if you would, Robert.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
That's where the first point is, and then you've just got them zigzagging around. But basically, all it does, instead of it being a straight horizontal map, this is just spread that all the way around the circle. So that's the shape it forms from that.
And then can you just show it us on the one you just drew? Just because Australia's a bit slightly further over on the Kawabashi, is it not?
Yeah, I just kind of did it quickly. Again, you'd have to really kind of map it out.
And again, can you just point out where the Bermuda Triangle is again, so people can just start for their starting point?
Would be somewhere there, wouldn't it, roughly?
Yeah.
Up.
There.
Way north from there. You're looking at the other side.
To the other side. To the other side.
There.
On the peninsula.
Right.
It looks like the really weird activities happen on the inside corners rather than the outside corners. There's a Bermuda Triangle. There's the Devil's thing in China, Japan.
Stop trying to see.
Yeah, so the inside one seems to be more
troublesome.
Interesting. I've never even thought of that.
Which would presumably denote the whatever you want to call it, the positive pole, the pole that the celestial bodies orbit.
I don't know. It could do. But it certainly shows where these anomalies are and what shape it forms. And I'm sure if these anomalies are magnetic in nature or non-magnetic, then it's sharp on the map, because if you're looking at a map that's non-magnetic and it's showing magnetic points, then these points are likely to be in the zones that aren't, strong magnetic. Or if it is strong magnetic, then it would also indicate it on these maps as well.
Cool.
Job to know. It's a big lot of research to look at, isn't it? Just
No, but still, it's like
drawing it.
anything. It's days like this that make me really proud to be a flat earther. You know,
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
gives me goosebumps. What we've done on the show has been awesome. I mean, this could have been just an off-air chat where we're just talking about this exciting stuff. But I don't know. You've got this way of having these kind of shows where people are discussing this sort of stuff. But live on air, it's the same when allegedly Dave was on your show. It's like a chat, but so informative.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
good.
Really cool.
Good. It's interesting, and like I say, because everyone's thinking about doing these maps, and that's where the ideas flood in, doesn't it? Because someone will do a map, and then you look at it and think, so I can improve that slightly or change that. And even if it just sits in your mind, it might come a week later or something, and then you come up with different ideas. And yeah, it's being open thinking, open-minded that allows these things to happen, not being closed-minded and
You got to think outside the box.
saying, no, that is the map, that's my only map, and that's what I'm going to go for. No, that's not my map, that's not the only map, it's just a map I'm using. As any other map that we have presented. We've got nothing better. We've only got examples of what we think. So by using those and then trying to work out something that's more accurate than we know is the way to go forward. And it's going to help us find land and navigate through these quagmire of navigation and magnetic disturbances that swing us out of the way. I'll end that now. Thanks everyone for watching, and thanks to all the subs and everyone, and thanks for Antonio, Nathan Oakley, and Martin. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking me, Robert.
Now, if anybody
It's been
wants
a
to
pleasure,
say
mate.
or
We've been involved in all things. It's been a real pleasure, mate. Thanks.
yeah, okay, take care.